Hi, this is Carl Polachuk, and this is another SOP video for managed service providers. And today we're talking about internal time in your company. How do you manage time inside your company? What do we mean exactly? Well, this time will consist of things like going to meetings, going to trainings, talking about clients, driving to clients if you don't charge for drive time. There's lots of time inside your company that you have to spend. It's quite legitimate, but it's not billable at the end to the client. And again, this may vary from company to company. You may charge clients for drive time, but you're certainly not going to charge clients for sitting in your office and having a weekly meeting. So here's the deal. You have to track all of this time somewhere. So I'm a big fan of creating tickets or tasks within your PSA so that you can track all of the internal time within your company. You can even create a ticket once a week or once a month, depending on the size of your company and how many technicians you have. You may even create a separate ticket for each technician for each pay period. Don't make it too complicated, but basically you have to have a place for all of that time to go. Let's start with internal admin stuff, truly internal stuff. So this would be things like training and cleaning up your desk and having staff meetings and sitting in quarterly reviews, whatever. It's truly administering your company. There should be a ticket that says internal admin for that. Second, you're going to have labor that is billable to you but not billable to the client. In other words, technicians are going to get paid for things like analyzing networks. They're going to get paid for applying patches, fixes, and updates with managed services, but the client won't receive a separate bill for that labor. Again, if you don't charge for drive time, you put drive time onto this. So that would be something where if it's specific to a client, then you will put the time into that. So that way you can figure out how many hours of labor it took to support an individual client. That means that you have to have contracts for managed services and you put time into them even if the client never sees it, even if the client is never billed for it. That way you can say, well, the technician spent so many hours in training, so many hours working on client-related materials, right? Other stuff that is not billable, but you want to keep track of it. Ultimately, this gets back to something you've heard me say over and over, which is technicians must track 100% of their time. If they're being paid 40 hours a week, they need to track 40 hours a week, even if that's not billable to a client. When the week is done, you'll be able to then look and say, okay, here's somebody who billed 32 hours to a client or spent 32 hours on a managed service contract, so it's truly usable billable labor even if we don't send out an invoice. So that employee is then 32 out of 40, they are 80% billable. Okay, that's a high billable rate, by the way. So it's not unusual at all, especially if people drive around the county, that they're going to be 60 to 80% billable. The other thing that this allows you to do is at the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year, look at individual clients, see how much time you spent on them supporting managed services, and then you can determine whether or not you're getting enough money for those flat fee services depending on what's covered and what's not. You may need to redraw the lines about what's covered. You may also need to simply raise your rates from time to time. So however you do it, you need to have some kind of system for managing internal time and keeping track of that. Ultimately, it will help you determine the profitability of technicians, employees, clients, projects, and managed service contracts. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Polachuk, wishing you the best of luck in your managed service business.